The whispering mirror, an ontology of the vanishing self. The phenomenon of the so-called whispering mirror is not merely a folkloric artifact. It is a liminal interface between the phenomenological self and the ontological abyss. One must approach it not as a reflective surface, but as a topological nexus of absence and desire, wherein the very notion of self is interrogated and refracted. To gaze into this mirror at the nocturnal apex, precisely midnight, is to engage what Husserl might term an epoché of the ego, suspending the natural attitude of corporeal existence to apprehend the manifold of hidden intimations lurking within the psychic substrate. The whispers, ethereal yet persistent, operate not in the phonetic register of ordinary language, but in semiotic vibrations that resonate directly with the subconscious archetypes of fear, guilt, and suppressed longing. They are not communications, but invocations. Each whisper a sigil, each sigil a fractalization of desire, recursively folding upon the observer until the distinction between perceiver and perceived collapses. In this sense, the mirror functions as a conduit for the sublime horror described by Burke, but displaced into the interiority of the self rather than the exteriority of nature. Historically, mirrors have served as instruments of divination, catoptromancy, portals to other ontological planes, and loci of occult anxiety. The whispering mirror intensifies these associations by temporally restricting its agency. Midnight is the point of chronological liminality, the threshold between diachronic continuity and the stochastic collapse of temporal identity. To encounter it at any other hour is to encounter mere reflection. At midnight, one confronts the whispering of unactualized possibilities and forbidden epiphanies, a locus where Lacanian desire intersects with the abyssal unconscious. To vanish within a week, as legend dictates, is less a physical disappearance than a metaphysical unbinding. The subject's phenomenal ego is deconstructed, recontextualized, and reabsorbed into the mirror's hyperreality. The whispers, in effect, perform a quasi-ritualistic exorcism of existence, substituting presence with an echoing ontological absence. In this absence, time, memory, and narrative continuity are suspended. The individual becomes simultaneously observer and observed, present and vanquished, an ontic palimpsest overwritten by spectral resonance. From a literary theoretical perspective, the whispering mirror embodies the postmodern collapse of subjectivity. Derrida's notion of différance is operationalized within the mirror. Meaning is deferred infinitely, each whispered secret an iteration that resists closure. The act of vanishing is thus both literal and textual. The observer is erased from the temporal narrative, while their secrets are endlessly repeated within the echo chamber of reflective ontologies. Finally, the mirror serves as a metaphysical caution against unexamined interiority. To encounter one's own shadowed confessions stripped of symbolic mediation is to confront the precarious architecture of selfhood itself. The whispering mirror is not a mere object of terror, but a liminal pedagogue, instructing in the subtle geometry of existence, that identity is never stable, secrets are never inert, and the midnight self may whisper us into oblivion if we fail to heed its arcane tutelage. If you